Hi, it's me, Lil. If you're coming to me from my Instagram stories, I know it's been a minute, but I'm back and on a whole different platform. Yay! If you're just joining me for the first time, welcome. This is Life with Lil, where every week or so I share a little bit about what I've been up to, be it going to the theater, sporting events, the occasional sporting event, going to an art exhibit, or traveling here, there, and yonder. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Today, you're going to get a little bit of what I call lights, camera, action with Lil, some stage left with Lil on the town, and everybody's favorite segment, moments with mommy. Let's start with lights, camera, action because I've been going to the movies a whole lot, making the best use out of my Alamo season pass. I'm pretty sure they know me by name now. I was really excited because there were so many good movies coming out from some of my favorite directors this fall. So I'm going to start with two of my faves, Ari Aster and Spike Lee. So I saw Ari Aster's Eddington, and I have to say it wasn't my favorite Ari Aster movie. I just wish you would go back to making good old-fashioned horror movies. Joaquin Phoenix was really solid in it. Emma Stone, Austin Butler, Pedro Pascal, they're all kind of like underused, and the material just wasn't worth it for them, up to snuff for them. I also didn't love that it was set in the early days of the pandemic. Like, I feel like it's too soon. We are still kind of living the pandemic in some ways. And I'm just not nostalgic for that time. So I wasn't ready to dive into that. You should also know that there's one black character in it, and I don't need to say anything else about what happens to him. But it's worth streaming when it comes out. I'm gonna give it a Lil's letter grade of a C plus. I also saw Spike Lee's newest joint, his fifth collaboration with Denzel Washington, Highest to Lowest, which was good. Not great, but it had its moments. I feel like Denzel was phoning it in a little. As always, Spike uses music really well, but in this one, it was only used well at the beginning, where we get to hear Norm Lewis's version of "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning" from Oklahoma, and then we even get a little bit of Eddie Palmieri towards the end of the movie. May he rest in peace. As for the rest of the music, the score was just not well done at all. It was kind of overbearing, telegraphing, and trying to tell us what to feel at every moment. There were so many times where we didn't need the scenes to be underscored, but it was for some reason. Otherwise, it's definitely worth checking out. You don't have to see it on the big screen, and it will be on Apple TV Plus, so you can check it out there. I would give Highest to Lowest a Lil's letter grade of a B minus. I also saw two great horror movies. As many of you know, horror brings me joy. So I went out and I saw Together, starring Alison Brie and Dave Franco as a couple that literally starts to become fused together. It's a little on the nose when we're talking about codependency, but it was an interesting watch. One part of it didn't really make sense, but it's definitely worth streaming when it comes out. I give it a Lil's letter grade of a C minus. I also saw the new horror film from Zach Brigger, whose directorial debut brought us the movie Barbarian, which I really enjoyed. And for some reason, I watched it multiple times. His new movie, Weapons, is really well done. It's told in a Rashomon style. It's us hearing from all different perspectives. It's just spooky and tense enough to keep you on your toes. My only quibble is that it got a little comedic and silly towards the end. And I don't love that in my horror movies unless you're going to go all the way and do it throughout. I will say that Amy Madigan was great in it. This is maybe the role she was born to play. This is the reason why she hasn't gotten a lot of plastic surgery and she's let herself age. It was just really good. There's even rumblings about a prequel with her character. I'd be down for that. It's about a teacher whose entire class of students disappears one night, except for one student. And what I didn't love about it was that I was kind of hitting us over the head with the whole metaphor of it being about school shootings. There's literally one scene where we see an AK-47 in the sky. That was not necessary, but it's still spooky and tense enough to keep your interest and worth watching in the theater, I'd say. I give it a little letter grade of a B plus. Now it's time for Lil on the Town. I've been very busy going to lots of exotic places like the Bronx. I made my annual sojourn to the Bronx to enjoy the Bronx Zoo, and it was wonderful. It was sunny. The animals were out. They were prancing and dancing. It was totally worth the $50. Another thing that's worth it to do is take the monorail tour that takes you throughout a particular section of the zoo. You get to see a lot, you get to sit. It's great. After the zoo, I made my way over to City Island, which, if you haven't been there, is pretty much like a slice of New England in the middle of the Bronx. There's all these cute little houses and tons of seafood restaurants. So I got my seafood on. It was delicious. We went to the City Island Lobster House. If you want to take a little getaway, head on up to City Island. I also spent a weekend in Hudson Valley, one of my favorite places to visit. I went to Blue Point Restaurant, which is in Newburgh. It has the best breakfast buffet I've ever had. I got 3 plates. I really wanted a 4 or 5, but I was with some proper ladies who only had 2 plates. So I had to wheel myself in and I couldn't really dig in like I wanted to. It's a lovely restaurant. I definitely recommend the Sunday breakfast buffet. It's only on Sundays. The atmosphere is so lovely. You can sit right outside on their terrace overlooking the Hudson, taking the beautiful views, and eat your delicious food. After Blue Point, I went to see my first show with the Hudson Valley Shakespeare Company, which this time around it wasn't Shakespeare. It was a new a cappella chamber music opera called Oxet, which was about a group of people in an addiction recovery support group. The music was fine. The vocals were really well done, but it was a little too long and the booking did some work. I'd give it a little letter grade of a C minus. We're going to call this segment sports. Just sports because I don't always do sports. It's very rare. But when I do, it's usually a good time. So last week, I did a lot of sports. I went to the Yankees game. It was Yankees versus Nationals, which is my hometown team. So you know I was torn, but the Yankees won. So I was fine with that. But I was not fine with is the food at Yankee Stadium. It sucks. Luckily for me, though, I went straight to the Halal Guys cart that they have there. There was no line, and the food is delicious, as you know if you've ever had Halal Guys. People I was with got disgusting dry pretzels, shriveled up hot dogs. It was just no bueno. The food at City Field is much better, so I'm hoping to make it there at some point before the season ends. The very next day, I made my way over to Queens for the US Open, which I love to attend every year if possible. Talk about stadium food. Theirs is the best. There's everything there. Shreepoo chicken, empanada, pizza, so many good things. I got those Toros, which used to be my old go-to when I worked in Midtown, and you just can't go wrong with any of their bowls. I also made sure to get my honeydews cocktail, which I have to get every time I go to the Open. And did I care that I waited in line for like 45 minutes for it? No, because it was delicious. They make them frozen now, which is even more delightful. So the match was very exciting. It was Coco Gauff against Ajla Tomljanovic. It was a great match, really interesting. Coco was playing a little spotty, but in the end, she was able to pull out a win. So that was great to see. Now moving on to Left Stage with Will. I saw an amazing show tonight. A show that is incredibly singular in the same way Alex Edelman's Just for Us is, the way Cat Shell Cabal is, the way Ha 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 at the Public is, that the show that changes every night. I mean, with all theater, it's different every night. But this show, it's remarkably different, and you never know what you're gonna get. It was called Ta-Da, written and performed by Josh Sharp, who's a queer comedian and magician. And in this show, Josh goes through 2,000 slides. But this isn't your typical like office presentation or vacation slideshow. It's done in a really funny, charming manner. The show was equal parts hilarious and also touching. And he even throws in a little bit of magic, which I love. I love magic. I don't know about you. It's not for everyone, but I enjoy it. It gets a little letter grade of an A plus. Highly recommend you seeing it if you can. He's extended it twice. Hopefully they'll extend it again. And also, hopefully they'll bring it to a wider audience and maybe a slightly bigger theater. The Labor Day weekend just passed, and mommy graced me with her presence in New York, paying me a little visit. She came up for a family picnic and to see how I'm living, quote unquote, as she always says. The first thing she said when she got out of the car is, "It smells like cocaine." And I was like, "How do you know what cocaine smells like?" And she was like, "I don't know. It smells like drugs." And I was like, "Well, welcome to Brooklyn. Come back next time. Well, I'll tell you all about the Maren Morris concert, Shakespeare in the Park, if I'm able to procure tickets. And I'll even give you a little Emmys recap. Thanks for tuning in."